Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today is the 7th year anniversary of Avengers Endgame, and I want to talk about how the re-release of Avengers Endgame is going to lead into Avengers Doomsday. Now, I know what you all are thinking, oh my god, he's actually doing a long-form video. I actually did record a long-form video last night because the Spider-Noir trailer released, and I was trying to record my reaction, but when I finished recording and looked back at it, I realized that it had no audio. So, and today was a very long filming day for me. I recorded 2 shorts, which are up on the channel right now. You guys can go watch. And, you know, all my socials are down in the description down below. So if you guys want to keep up with me, if you guys are only long-form video watchers, which I know some of you are, I do have short-form content that you guys can go check out as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So today is Avengers Endgame's 7th year anniversary, which is very, very cool. It's very, very crazy considering that it's 7 years ago. I mean, it's wild to even say that out loud. I remember going to see this movie in theaters. It was such a wonderful theatrical experience. And of course, everyone who went to go see this movie in theaters absolutely loved it, right? Now, I am lower on Endgame than everybody else, right? I still love it, though, because it's a literal staple in the history of cinema, right? I mean, no movie's ever been able to do what that movie did. And that is all thanks to the Russos, who are directing Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, which I will be talking about in today's video. But basically what I wanted to say is this movie means so much to me, right? And I just want to go ahead and share my thanks to Joe and Anthony Russo and Kevin Feige and Lou D'Esposito and everyone over there at Marvel for giving us this film, because it does mean so much to so many people, and, you know, for just giving us the Infinity Saga in general, right? Because those movies are so great. And I'm going to talk about the differences between the Multiverse Saga and the Infinity War Saga, and how this might affect these next 2 Avengers movies that are coming up. But, yeah, I mean, this movie just means a lot, and let's go ahead and get into today's video. So, I want to talk about how Avengers Endgame and the re-release that's happening in September will lead into Avengers Doomsday, right? And I am so sorry, by the way, if I stutter a lot in this video. I do not know what's going on with me today, but it is what it is. So, the re-release in September is happening, right? Disney is debuting their new sort of IMAX, right, with Infinity Vision, that was announced at CinemaCon. And Joe Russo had this to say about adding new additions in the re-release of Endgame that will lead into Avengers Doomsday. He said that the stuff that will be included in the re-release of Endgame will be critical to the plot of Avengers Doomsday. Now, this is very, very concerning to me because I do not want them effing around with this movie, right? As I said in the beginning portion of this video, this movie means so much to so many people. And if you're going to sort of take away what makes this movie so special, I'm going to be really, really upset, right? Like, if we get the sacrifice of Tony Stark at the end of that movie, right? And then a few scenes later, we're hinting at him possibly being Doctor Doom, that's going to be really, really weird, and it's going to take a lot of people out of the movie, right? So that's one of the main things that I'm really, really concerned about. Another thing that I want to talk about in terms of Doomsday and Endgame and how they're both really, really different. Endgame had the entire Infinity Saga leading up to it, right? And, you know, in that saga, it was just constant banger after banger after banger, right? And most of those are actually the Russos, right? But with Doomsday and Secret Wars, the Multiverse Saga has been all over the place. Okay, like, we have not had banger after banger after banger. A lot of it has been really inconsistent. We've gotten a lot of good characters out of the Multiverse Saga, right? Like Shang-Chi, Yelena, you know, there's a multitude of characters that we've gotten from the saga that are great. The problem is the stories and how inconsistent they are with each other, right? And that's something that I felt as the Infinity Saga did so well, was building up to Thanos. We haven't really had a big build-up to Doctor Doom. Now, with the inclusion of the post-credit scene in Fantastic Four, right, I felt as if that was kind of a big enough build-up, right? Like, back during the Infinity Saga, we got no, you know, real build-up to Ultron, right? That wasn't really a thing that was being built up, right? I think it just goes to show that these movies don't necessarily need a big build-up for them to be good. It's just that in this particular case, it's all going to be really, really confusing, right? Because some of these characters are coming from Disney Plus shows and they're being thrown into this movie. Obviously, the likes of John Walker was in Thunderbolts last year, but that really didn't perform as well as Marvel thought it would. Although it is a great film, and I might actually watch it tonight because it's just great. But look, I think that this film needs to be good, right? It needs to be great. Doomsday needs to be great. Secret Wars needs to be great. And I'm very, very intrigued to see what they're doing with the re-release of Endgame because, like I said, I don't want this film to be bothered, right? I don't need it to be messed with. But if it's an inclusion worth putting in, I'll allow it if it makes sense. If I go and watch this movie in September and none of these freaking inclusions make sense, I will riot because I don't think it's necessary. I think with the teasers that have already been released and the trailer that was shown at CinemaCon, which sounds amazing, and we may or may not get that trailer released today. I don't know. It's been heavily rumored, but we'll see. It could already be released right now as I'm making this video, which will suck. But I just am really, really cautiously optimistic for Doomsday and Secret Wars, right? It is Stephen McFeely who's writing it. It is the Russos that are directing it. It's Kevin Feige. It's Robert Downey Jr. It's Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, right? They're all coming back. But I just want to make sure that these movies are being really, really taken care of. And that's the only thing that I really want to hone in on. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in today's video is Spider-Man Brand New Day. I know that this video was going to be really Avengers-centric, but we did just get new synopsises for each character in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Alright, so we did just get new synopsises for Spider-Man and the Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day, so let's go ahead and dive right into those. So we got a new synopsis for Peter Parker in Spider-Man Brand New Day, so let's go ahead and read it. Spider-Man is back in action and hard at work keeping New York City safe. An anonymous hero and brilliant scientist, Peter Parker creates his own cutting-edge technology and builds his own suit. I am very, very excited for that last sentence, right? I feel like in the Homecoming trilogy, right, in the Home trilogy, we didn't really see too much of Peter being a genius, right? Which we all know he is in the comics. He's a very, very smart kid. But in that movie, we didn't really see too much. We didn't really see too much of it until No Way Home, right? When Peter traps Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension. That was really the only time where I felt, oh, this kid's like really, really smart, right? And then obviously when they're creating the serums for all the different villains in No Way Home. But besides that, I mean, I just don't really think that we've seen too much of his nerdiness. I feel as if they've been trying to do a really good balance of Andrew's Peter, right? Trying to make him sort of cool, trying to have him fit in a little bit. And with Toby's Peter, right? Being a total nerd, a total dork, right? They've really been trying to balance the two. And I hope that they really get that balance right in Brand New Day. Next thing I want to talk about is the Hulk synopsis in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Alright, so let's go ahead and read the synopsis for Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then I want to talk about it, because it's really, really interesting, and it could be really telling for, the Hulk story in this movie. Spider-Man is surprised to see the Hulk again after so much time has passed, and he has no idea if Hulk will remember him. Will Hulk be a friend or foe? So in the comics, whenever everyone forgets who Peter is, right, everyone's memory is wiped of Peter Parker, of Spider-Man, whatever, right? The only person that does remember him is the Hulk, right? This is a very common trope that we've seen in the comics that happened before. I believe that the Ultimate Spider-Man show also did do an approach on this as well, where Hulk is the only one who remembers who Peter is throughout the entire world, essentially, right? And it would be really, really intriguing to see how that plays out in Brand New Day. Obviously, we're going to be getting Savage Hulk back, right? No more Smart Hulk, thank God. We're going to be getting real OG Hulk back, which I'm super, super excited to see. And it's already been leaked numerous times through either set photos or Lego sets that have been released, and etc., right? This is not a spoiler, because it's very, very much out there. But, I'm just really, really excited to see what they do with that in Brand New Day, because we haven't really seen Peter Parker and Hulk interact that much. I don't think we've ever seen them interact, which I think is going to be very interesting if they do that sort of trope, but we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Obviously, Bruce Banner would know who Peter is, right? I would think. but I don't think Hulk has really interacted with him yet, which has been really, really sad, to be honest, because that is a dynamic that works so well in the comics. But we're finally seeing it in Brand New Day, so I can't wait. So let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments down below. I'm really, really excited to see how all of this sort of plays out. Now, moving on from Spider-Man Brand New Day, I'm going to get back to the Avengers stuff, because Kevin Feige did talk about how Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars correlate with each other, and I want to talk about it, so let's go. Alright, so Kevin Feige talked about in an interview with Fandango about how these two movies will correlate with each other and how they're very similar. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. They relate in a very different way than Infinity War and Endgame. I think people are expecting a similar connection, and while one certainly does lead into another, but it's in a very different way. Now, this is sort of like what I was talking about earlier in the beginning of this video, where the multiverse saga has been really all over the place, right? So we haven't really had too much build up in terms of building up to Doomsday and Secret Wars, right? Whereas, you know, the Infinity Saga had all of these amazing movies leading into one another until we eventually got Infinity War and Endgame. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they pull this off, right? I still have a lot of faith in the Russos, right? They've made absolute wonderful work in the MCU, right? Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. And I just really, really hope that they pull this off. And I am putting a lot of trust in them, right? Their work outside of the MCU post Endgame hasn't really been too great, right? Some of it has been really, really good. Some of it has not really been really, really good. But this sandbox, they work really, really well in, right? Stephen McFeely's coming back to write both movies. Alvin Silvestri is coming back to do the music, which is really, really big. So I'm just cautiously optimistic for both of these movies. And I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below. So, I have been Joshua Arce, Joshua Reviews, Movies, and More. Please make sure to subscribe, leave a like on the video. Take care, and peace.